was murdered by her stepmother. Lily started coming home with bruises on her arms and legs and back, burn mark on her neck.
What's the hardest thing about this for you?
As a mother, you're supposed to protect your children, and I failed.
Why do you think she did this to your daughter?
I believe that she killed her because...
Let's do it.
Have a good show, everybody. Here we go.
I hate to see people suffering, and you've hurt long enough.
Stand by, Dr. Phil.
Hold a second. Take
I'm going to get you the help that you need.
In 5, 4,
This is going to be a changing day in your life.
Go, Dr. Phil.
Hey, guys. How are you? Good morning. Well, yesterday I talked to a stepfather who, I don't know, he just had a hard time hearing what I had to say. And I ended up spending the entire hour trying to get through to him. You'll remember, I know I'll never forget him. Take a look.
I've about had enough of your mouth. Keep it up and I'm gonna spank your ass.
Austin puts a big strain on my relationship with my wife. She always thinks that I'm the bad guy.
My husband is an abusive stepfather. He is verbally, mentally, and physically abusive toward my son.
When Drew picked me up and threw me against the wall, it made me feel scared inside.
You can take your little film and stick it where the sun don't shine.
You threaten him?
Define threatening him.
Okay, I will. Quote, you better shut the up or I'll knock your teeth out. I'm just gonna punch a hole in your chest. You know, man up and own it. You either do it or you don't.
My daughter Destiny was diagnosed with mild to moderate mental retardation.
She acts like she's the victim.
What is your deal? For being a weirdo.
He punched me in the arm. I cried myself to sleep.
You get really frustrated with your stepdaughter as well. Have you called her stupid and retarded?
I've called her stupid and retarded a couple of times.
Have you gotten physically aggressive with your daughter?
He backhanded her in the arm.
Did it leave a mark? No. Did I really hit her hard? No.
Do you know how it sounds that you're physically hitting an intellectually disabled girl?
I think I'm about done with this show. But the way things look right now, looks like that you guys are going to try to drill me here. And I don't think that's too cool.
You want to know what I think, or do you care?
Well, truthfully, I don't care, but I would like to hear what you got to say.
I believe what you're doing is criminal. You don't realize the impact and gravity of what you're doing. You cannot be a loudmouth, abusive bully and succeed. Are you being a loudmouth, abusive bully?
Apparently, I guess I am.
No, I'm asking you.
Did I just answer your question?
No.
Yes, I just did.
Well, answer it again, because I'm not very smart.
I think you're smarter than you're playing off right now, to be honest with you.
Do you think that's what you're doing? Do you think you're being a loudmouth, abusive bully? Not what they think. What do you think? Or do you think you're doing what any reasonable person in a similar situation would do?
To me, at the time, I don't feel like I'm being a bully when I'm angry and trying to get him to understand. When I'm not angry, looking at what I just seen, it looks like I was being a bully, and I'm not very happy about that.
Well, I can't tell you how happy I am and how hopeful I am to hear that two-part answer. The two-part answer was, it doesn't feel like it at the time. But when I look at it, I can see how it comes across that way. That was your answer, right?
That was correct.
That, to me, gives me hope, because you have the capacity for some insight. You can get some objectivity from it and look at it and say, I can do that better. I'm not saying that this 14-year-old boy, I raised two boys. They both went through 14. Teenage brains are not fully developed yet. And in fact, at 14, they're starting a pruning process where they're actually cutting back certain things. They don't reason well. They don't have maturity. And they're the calm in the middle of the storm that they model things. And I'll tell you what you're modeling for him is creating rage. Because here's what happens. He is so enraged at you, but he can't really do anything about it. She won't protect him from you, and he can't overpower you, so he just sits there and just builds a rage inside like you can't believe, and the first chance he gets, he's going to vent that rage. That's why children that are abused are at risk for coming into conflict with authority, for going to jail, for going to juvie, to going to all of these places. Those kids are higher risk than kids who are not abused because they have all this rage building up inside and they eventually get out and express that rage. You're not teaching him to be a man, you're teaching him to be in trouble.
Well, I guess apparently I've been doing things wrong.
Yes. But you can do them right. That's changeable. Look, that's the good thing about behaviors. Behaviors have a beginning and an end. When you stop doing it, it's over, right? And you have to stop doing it. You may not know this, but you are breaking the law. The law in Oklahoma is very clear. I looked up the child abuse statutes in Oklahoma, and let me tell you what it says with great specificity. Harm or threatened harm to a child's health, safety, or welfare, including but not limited to non-accidental physical or mental injury, sexual abuse, exploitation, or negligent treatment, including lack of provision of necessities such as food, shelter, medical care, etc., or abandonment. Now that means you are breaking the law. I'm just getting started. What I need to say to get through to Drew Plus, where is Brenda's ownership in all of this? You said, and I quote, "Sometimes I think I should just have never gotten with Drew. The kids would be safer, but I'm afraid of being alone." You're failing to protect these children. You know it's happening. Failure to report that is breaking the law. You're breaking the law. You're not protecting, and you're failing to report to those who could protect. So this isn't me saying this. This is the law saying this. Meet Dr. Charles Sophie right here. Dr. Charles Sophie is the medical director for the Los Angeles County Department of Child and Family Services. He is the medical director for what is in Oklahoma, CPS. Are they breaking the law?
They're breaking the law.
In what way, and is this a reportable offense?
Well, I mean, she's not a protective parent. So if she can't protect her children from anybody, that's breaking the law. And then not calling it into the child abuse hotline. Even if you feel helpless and you're stuck, you can still reach to him, and calling him and protecting your children. Because they're probably as angry at you as they are at him because you can't protect them. And then he's breaking it the way he behaves. The verbal abuse, the physical abuse, the threats.
You said, and I quote, "Sometimes I think I should just have never gotten with Drew. The kids would be safer, but I'm afraid of being alone."
There's been lots of times where I have thought about it, and I actually had to leave before. I was gone for a week, and I took my kids with me. And it was because of a similar situation. So I do protect my kids in that way, and maybe I didn't take them away whenever I should have. Like when he's blowing up, I should just leave.
Look, he needs help, and I think he is open to getting that help. He asked me a legitimate question. He said, "Give me another way to cope. Give me some other tools. If it's not to just have to control him physically, mentally, emotionally, tell me what else I can do." Do you believe that you need to change the way you're doing it?
What I've seen, apparently I don't understand that it's happening the way it is. But from seeing what I did, yeah, I'm not doing the right thing, being basically a bad parent. And that doesn't settle well with me at all.
You have to understand something that I don't think you understand. When you berate somebody, when you call them a demeaning name, your theory might be, well, you know what? That'll cause them to say, all right, then, man, I'm going to get up and do better. That's not what happens. What happens is their self-esteem is eroded, their self-image is eroded, their self-worth is eroded. Children have a way of figuring out how everything in their life is their fault. You heard him say, they fight because of me. If you have financial trouble, if you have trouble between you, if there are issues with the family in any way, children have a unique ability to figure out how they did something to cause that. And they feel guilty. And to him, he so wants to please you. He so wants your approval. And it doesn't look like that. And he does push your buttons on purpose. I have no doubt of that. He does push your buttons on purpose. But he wants your approval. He's hungry for it, so hungry for it. And then when you reject him and say you're stupid, you're lazy, and you're this and that and the other, then he just feels like a failure. That doesn't make him want to do better. It makes him think he can't do better because he can't please you. Your approval of that boy, your approval of that girl, your acceptance of those kids is such a powerful tool that you can change their behavior through a reward system rather than a punishment, intimidation, and threat system. You can truly change their behavior with love, acceptance, and guidance, even if you have to hide behind a bush and catch him doing something right.
Oh, don't get me wrong. When he does something right, I tell him.
But let me tell you, it takes 1,000 attaboys to erase one, you're an idiot. That sticks with them forever.
Imagine how they feel every day when they wake up. They never know when the torment and the mistreatment is going to end because you're not doing your job.
Robin and I work in the foster care system. We're national spokespersons for CASA, the Advocates Program nationwide that helps foster children navigate the foster system, particularly through the courts. And she is a passionate advocate about domestic violence, violence in the home, particularly involving children. Come up here. Robin, come up. I want you to meet her. I want you to meet this woman. This is my wife, Robin. Say hello, Robin.
It's good to meet you.
Nice
this is Brenda.
Hi, Brenda.
Okay,
Nice
you could have my seat.
Oh, okay.
From a mother's perspective, what do you say to her is her duty, her responsibility for these children?
Yes, I was sitting with Philip last night when he was working on this show, and I was watching the tape, and it really broke my heart, and it really made me upset. It made me mad because I just kept saying over and over, you're not doing your job. Because when you gave birth to those children, when you gave birth to your babies, you created yourself a full-time job. That day, a full-time job that would last for the rest of your life. Your job is to protect those babies, to nurture those babies, to keep them safe. And you're not doing that. You're not standing in the door of their home and keeping out the bullies and making sure that they're happy and feeling safe and warm and protected. Imagine how they feel every day when they wake up and they know that today's going to be just like every other day because there's not anyone in their life that's going to take care of them. And you're that person that they need. You're that person that they should be able to depend on. You're that person that they should be able to say, I have one person in my life, my mother, that will make sure no one bullies me, torments me, mistreats me, calls me names, she's always going to be there for me, and you're not doing that for them.
Where would you be as a mother if anybody treated either of your boys in that way? And you have grandchildren now. If somebody was yelling or hurting Avery or London, how would you feel about that?
Well, first of all, that would absolutely never happen. I would never, ever allow anyone to ever take one step towards harming my children or my grandchildren. I would never, ever allow anyone to cause harm to my children or my grandchildren. What do you think the chances are that I would ever allow this man to speak to my children or to speak to me like he speaks to your children or to you? What do you think the chances are that I would let him speak to me that way?
Never.
Because men like him only treat people like that are defenseless and that can't fight back because they're just big schoolyard bullies. And they only treat people like that because there are other people who allow them to do it. And that would be people like you.
Why did you say last night that at his heart you don't think he's a bad guy?
Because I think that when he's ranting and raving and saying all those things to your children, I never ever see him stop and really look at them. All I could see in the video was them thinking, is this ever going to end? Is he ever going to quit? Is she ever going to step up and make him stop? But he doesn't even notice.
All the time. I do. I mean,
this has
that's
been
what I don't
going on
understand.
for years.
Forever.
This has been going on for years. You have not done what you have to do to protect these children. This guy can do better. He can do a better job. He is not dumb and he is not unmotivated. He came here because at his core, he knows and he wants to do better.
I would love to be happy. It would be the most important thing in my whole life to be happy. I have been trying, and not everything works.
I don't think this is an evil guy. I think your behavior is unacceptable. I think at some level you know that, but we do what we know how to do. But he's here. He came here, and I think said to me in honesty, you give me a better toolbox, I'll use it. I don't think, because when you're raging like that, you must be miserable inside.
By all means, I am.
They even said in the video they want to get along with him. They even said that they wish that they could all be happy, that they want him to be happy, they want to get along with him.
They do.
I would love to be happy. It would be the most important thing in my whole life to be happy.
That's what he wants.
But I got to figure out how to get it there, and I have been trying. Not everything works.
And we have to understand, you both are dealing with children that present some management challenges. Your son is diagnosed with ADHD and bipolar.
Right.
It's not like I don't get that, you don't have a perfect child there in terms of their behavior, but he is a perfect child because he's your child. And every child is perfect in their own way. And because you have some additional management challenges, you have to have some additional management tools. Because admit it, what you're doing is not working. It's getting worse, not better, right?
That's exactly true.
And that doesn't mean that they can't be infuriating at times. What it means is you can't be infuriated. I am going to offer you is to personally arrange for you to get some help. And I'm not talking for you to get some help just as a parent, but to help you. You said, I'd love to be happy. One thing I know, when people show anger, it's just an outward manifestation of hurt, fear, and frustration. You got to work some of these things out, because what's going to happen if this continues is somebody's going to get in trouble, and the hurt's going to continue. These children are being harmed now. This has to stop. It has to stop. And I'm trying to stand up for them now. I want to help you get the chip off your shoulder about them being quiet and not following directions, and give you some tools, because what you want is to be happy, not right. If I arrange this help for you, will you take it?
Yeah, I'll take it. I'm here. That's why I'm asking.
You deserve it. You deserve it. These kids deserve it, and the law requires it. There is a story that I want these parents to hear. It's a story of step-parent abuse, and horrific and unimaginable. It landed one stepmother in jail for life. And this situation has not gotten to that point. I don't want it to get to that point. It's not going to get to that point. But this is a cautionary tale. This step-parent went to jail for life because she was convicted of murdering her own stepdaughter.
That's sad.
Was jealousy to blame? You're going to find out when we come back.
That's very sad.
Lily started coming home with bruises on her arms, legs, back, the tops of her hands. She came home with a black eye. The morning Lily died, I took her to her father. She said to me, "Mommy, please don't make me go." The last time I saw my daughter, she was screaming and crying.
It was nearly 3 years ago when Lauren got the phone call that every parent dreads. There's been an accident. I need you to go to the hospital immediately. Sadly, by the time Lauren arrived, her 2-year-old daughter, Lily, had tragically passed away. But as it turns out, it was no accident. It was no accident at all. And it only took jurors a couple of hours to convict Lily's stepmother of felony murder, child abuse in the first degree, and unbelievably criminal sexual conduct in the first degree, from contusions and lacerations to Lily's vagina, and it all resulted in a life sentence. Take a look.
My daughter Lily was the most beautiful little girl.
I love you. More.
She just loved to sing and dance around the house.
What are you doing?
She just always wanted to be by my side. My daughter was murdered by her stepmother. She was only 2 years old. Lily's stepmother killed her because she was jealous of the relationship Lily and I had. Renee was the one that Lily spent most of her time with because her father would be at work. Every time that I had to drop Lily off, she would cry and say, "Please don't make me go, Mommy." Lily started coming home with bruises on her arms, legs, back, the tops of her hands. Lily came home with a burn mark on her neck. The excuses that I was told were she was clumsy, that she fell all the time. One time Lily had a broken blood vessel in her eye and a scratch on her face. And they said that the dog had jumped on her and knocked her down. Every time I picked up Lily, she would be very clingy, and it'd take us a little while to get her back to our silly Lily. 2 months before Lily passed away, she came home with a black eye. The black eye looked like Mike Tyson hit her. The morning that Lily died, I took her to her father. She said to me, "Mommy, please don't make me go." And then the last promise I made her was that one day she wouldn't have to go to her dad and Renee's house again. And I told her that I loved her when I handed her over, and she started screaming and crying. And I said, "I'm so sorry, baby." They walked away, and she was clawing, trying to get back to me. The last time I saw my daughter, she was screaming and crying. Later on that day, I received a call from Lily's father stating that there was an accident and to get to the hospital right away. When I got to the hospital, I got out of the car and my knees gave out. Lily's father was standing outside. I looked at him and I said, "Is she okay?" And he said, "No." I said, "Is she alive?" And he said, "No." My world crashed at that moment and I didn't know how to go on. When the detective came into the room at the hospital, she asked me questions like, what clothes were Lily wearing that day? What underwear did Lily have on? My mom looked at them and she said, "Why are you asking these questions?" She said, "Because Lily was not only murdered, she was also severely sexually abused immediately before her death." When we got back from the hospital that night, my mom, dad, and I sat in the car for a long time. Told them I didn't want to come back in the house because the one person that made this house a home was never coming home. I just wanted her back, and I wanted to wake up from this dream, this nightmare, and I haven't woke up yet.
Well, Lauren, I'm tell you to begin with that I'm so terribly sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
And this is a cautionary tale that's so important, and I admire your courage in being here so we can talk about this and you can share it. What's the hardest thing about this for you?
Just life after Lily. It's just, as a mother, you're supposed to protect your children, and I failed because my daughter's buried.
You cannot blame yourself for something you have a cognitive inability to perceive or conceptualize. And I just hope you'll think about that. As you've deconstructed this after the fact, why do you think she did this to your daughter?
Lily never wanted to go there, and Lily hated her. And I believe that she killed her because she was just sick of taking care of a child that wasn't hers, and she was jealous of the relationship we had.
Well, Lauren says that she documented and took photos of Lily's abuse, and she came home with a scratch on her face, right? And it was nothing horrific but a scratch on her face, and the excuse was about the dog, right?
The dog had jumped on her.
Okay. And then a cigarette burn on her neck.
Yes.
And how did they explain that? How was that explained?
They said that they were doing yard work and there was a bonfire going, and Lily walked by the fire and a spark popped up and got in her hood of her sweatshirt and burned her neck.
Right.
That was the first mark. There was no priors to that, so.
Right. And what did you think about that at the time?
I thought that the way that it looked and the fact that they smoked a lot constantly, it was in the back of my head, but I just couldn't imagine somebody burning somebody else with a cigarette.
But you see my point? Your mind couldn't go there. You couldn't put that on your list because it's just so foreign to your thinking. Now, 2 months before she was murdered, there was a black eye. And the excuse was slipping in the kitchen.
In the bathroom, Renee was mopping the floor, and she called me hysterically crying, saying Lily had fallen and hit in her eye on the corner of something.
That she fell and hit like the edge of something.
Mm-hmm.
And then she had a second black eye, right?
Yes, she did.
And what was the excuse here?
I picked her up from her grandparents because they were the ones we usually met, and I said, "What happened this time?" And they said Renee's hip gave out and she fell on Lily in the Sprint store.
All right, we're going to take a break and let Lauren catch her breath and let me catch mine. And we're going to talk about why Lauren says visiting her daughter's grave is a constant reminder of how she failed as a parent. We'll be right back.
Every day is a struggle without Lily. I miss her every second of every day. The bed is the same way that it was the last night that we spent together. I haven't opened the blinds. Her laundry is still in the laundry bag. I wouldn't let anybody wash them. The necklace that I wear every day has Lily's ashes in it, and it's close to my heart, so I have a piece of Lily next to me. As a mother, we're supposed to protect our children, and I feel that I failed Lily because she is in the ground. I didn't save her, so I failed as a mother.
One of my missions today is to help Lauren change her thinking about that. The other mission is to use this as a cautionary tale to every parent to open their eyes and look at all possibilities, even if it's something you couldn't conceive of. 5 children die every day as a result of child abuse, and sadly, my guest, Lauren's 2-year-old daughter, Lily, was brutally murdered at just 2 years of age. Now, we have a statement that I need to read. We contacted Renee's attorney, who, after speaking with her from jail, he issued the following statement, and I have to read this because we asked for it. Renee King's convictions are currently under appeal. Renee mourns the loss of Lily every day of her life. Renee would never do anything to intentionally hurt Lily and loved her as she loved her own children. I only hope that one day Mrs. King is granted a new trial, as she is truly innocent of the crimes of which she has been convicted. So she still doesn't take accountability for this.
No. She still says that it was an accident.
You've been in the audience and you know that Dr. Charles Sophie is here, and as I say, he's the medical director for the LA Department of Child and Family Services. So, Dr. Sophie, what should a parent do if, like Lauren, they begin to get suspicious, never thinking anything like this would happen, of course, but if they get suspicious that's going on, what do they do? What are the avenues?
The best place to start is have a mandated reporter, like a doctor, examine a child. Because then you have something documented. You have someone who is not you, who's not a family member, who's partial to looking at a child and seeing that that round burn is clearly a cigarette burn. And won't have that blind spot because we're trained in a different way and we don't have that emotional response. It's not our child. To be able to report it, because once it's reported by that type of a person, that will trigger something. And even if nothing comes out of that one, you have 3 like that, you have 4 like that. It starts to add up, and then you have enough.
You were anything but asleep at the switch here, and you've got to give yourself that break. I mean, it'll make you crazy. You cannot play the what-if game. What if I'd started a week sooner? What if I had done this? You can't play the what-if game. You all get that, right? I mean, you get that this is a loving mother that did the right thing. If you get that, raise your hand here. This is, I mean.
But she's not here.
I know. I know she's not here. And there's nothing that's right about that. There's nothing that's going to change that. What you can do is honor her memory and use her life and save another child down the road. And I will guarantee you, millions of people are watching this show right now. And among those millions of people, someone is hearing your story that's going to pick up the phone and save their child because of you and Lily. And does that bring her back? Of course not. That doesn't bring her back. Next, the warning signs of child abuse that you need to recognize in order to keep your child safe and alive. Dr. Charles Sophie, who is the medical director of the County of Los Angeles Department of Child and Family Services, has come up with a few of the warning signs of abuse. Let's look first, Dr. Sophie, if we could, at physical abuse, unexplained bruises, welts, and burns. Look for injuries where children are rarely injured, such as where?
Well, the neck. How does a spark fly into a hood and not get extinguished, stay lit enough to create a burn to that degree?
Right, you say torso and back.
All those kinds of, the places where you typically would, if you fell, you're not going to fall flat on your back and get a scratch like that, or a punch in the eye like that.
Right. And you say look at clusters of bruises, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. And then in terms of sexual abuse, what do you look for there? You say what?
Well, you're going to see that maybe their bathroom hygiene has changed. They're going to the bathroom less frequently or more frequently, or you've noticed some discharge in underwear, or they start to take an object and start to put it down there because they're feeling something or they felt something and they want to repeat it.
And they might even have difficulty walking or sitting.
Absolutely, or saying
pain
it
or
hurts.
itching in the genital area, premature understanding of sex. All of a sudden, they've got some wisdom they didn't have.
Exactly.
For more warning signs, go to drphil.com. If you suspect child abuse, pick up the phone, call the Child Help National Child Abuse Hotline. That number is 1-800-4-A-CHILD. That's 1-800-422-4453. And help's available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You don't have to give your name. They'll just answer your questions. And Lauren, God bless you for sharing this story. I'm sorry that we met. I wish we were talking about anything but this. I really am. And I can tell you, you heard Robin earlier say we were kind of looking through some of these as a last look last night. And you and Lily and your whole family are on our prayer list. And we pray that God gives you some peace and comfort. And I know that the grief process is very individualized. It's different for everybody. It's okay to cry. It's okay if it takes a week or a month or a year. It's okay to hurt. It's okay to cry. It's okay to be upset. Those things don't mean you're losing it. It just means that you're grieving the loss of this wonderful, precious child. And I want to offer to get you some help with this if you think that it would help you, and be it right now or a month from now or whenever, if you feel like I need to talk to somebody about this, I need help with my rage or my this or my that, just please know that it's our gift to you. We would like to make those resources available to you to help you. And thank you for being here, and thank you for sharing your story with Precious Lily. So long. I want you all to meet Summer. She is blonde, she is beautiful, and she's 16 years old with her entire life ahead of her. How then did she go from a straight-A Southern California beach beauty to being on the streets of Vegas, homeless and panhandling to survive? It is the nightmare of every parent. How do you go from seemingly one day everything's fine to a train wreck? Her father, Ray, says Summer was the apple of his eye until things started going downhill 3 years ago, when he says he kicked his wife out for cheating. He recently told a judge he is done with Summer's out-of-control behavior and that she's no longer welcome to live in his house. Her mother, Dina, says she wants custody of Summer, but she said, frankly, I just can't afford to raise her.
Get away from me!
Summer's out of control and violent.
I noticed a change in Summer.
in 7th grade, getting in fights after school, her throwing a rock at a girl. She got suspended. Summer shoplifted slippers, underwear, and bras. Just 2 weeks ago, she stole some earphones and stuffed it in her bra. We got into the car and she said, "Mom, look what I just took," and laughed about it. I'm afraid to say anything to her. I'm afraid of her.
Summer's run away 15 times, but it's only been twice that I've called the police.
Summer also experimented a lot with drugs.
I started doing drugs when I was about 11 years old. Coke, ecstasy,
shooting up meth and heroin.
Acid.
She wanted to try LSD.
She got kicked out of high school for having marijuana on her. She beat up one of her friends. Summer's anger was eventually directed towards my ex-husband and me. Summer threatens to kill her father, poison him, stab him.
She comes at me with everything she has. She's gonna kick me, scratch me, punch me in the jaw.
Summer got violent with me when I came into her room. She came charging at me and got me in a chokehold and knocked me down. I thought she was gonna break my neck.
I did kind of overpower her. I put her on the ground in chokehold because I took MMA.
After the fight, my hand was all black and blue and swollen.
Summer has been arrested for shoplifting, possession of stolen property, and for drugs. I feel like her life's spinning out of control.
Okay, so the two of you agree on one thing, and that is that she is behaving in a self-destructive way.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
You two do agree on that?
Yes.
Do you agree on anything else?
Well, we both agree that, we haven't been the best of parents when it comes to the divorce scenario and providing a stable home for her.
Okay, how so? What have you failed to provide, and what have you done wrong?
Well, currently, we don't own our own home, so I'm living in an apartment. She's living with her mother. And, she's living with me, and she doesn't have that, mother figure there with her. And so we both agree that, we kind of failed. We missed the mark when it comes to raising your child. And
what was more important than providing a stable environment for your child?
Just making sure that she was in good hands all the time. Everywhere she went.
No, you said I didn't provide a good. We did not provide a good environment for our child, right? You agree on that? And I'm saying, so that lost out to something. What was more important than that?
There was nothing more important.
Based on results, that's not true. Based on results, other things crowded that out. I just want to know what they were.
I think that I decided that we would probably be better parents separated than we would together because of the arguing and the fighting. There wasn't anything that I decided to choose over raising my daughter and providing a good home for her.
Let me say something. Let's say we're sitting here in these chairs and right out there a fire breaks out. Okay, and now we can go put that fire out, or we can go do something else. And if we choose instead to go backstage and get something to drink, then that, based on results, was more important than putting that fire out. I'm not asking about intention, I'm asking about based on results. You two adults made some decisions, either individually or collectively, that something was more important than providing a stable environment for your child. I'm just wanting to know what she lost out to. That's what I want to know. What was more important to you than providing a stable environment for your child?
Well, Ray has not provided a stable environment.
Okay.
Ray has not provided a stable environment for
So
Summer.
this is the problem?
Yes.
The problem's not with you?
I'm not saying it's not all me, but a lot of it is him.
So you gave him control?
I didn't have a choice when we separated. The courts gave him physical custody because I never worked. I was a stay-at-home mom. So when
courts don't give custody to fathers because there are stay-at-home mothers. Sorry, forensic psychologist, doesn't happen. Been an officer of the court a number of times. That's not why they give. That's not why they give custody to someone else. It's basically a woman's court. If they give primary custody to a father, there's usually a glaring reason. I'm just asking what it is.
I couldn't take care of her, I didn't have money.
That's not true, but if that's your story, this is informative to me. Because frankly, I'm here for one reason, and that's Summer.
Yes.
And you guys are here for I don't know why, but this is not a Summer problem. This is a family problem. She didn't come out of the womb with a mission to shoplift. She didn't come out of the womb with a mission to get in fights. She didn't come out of the womb with a mission to get into drugs. She learned that. And that was environmental, right?
Absolutely.
So I'm just curious, what was more important to you guys than providing an environment that would have been healthy and stable?
To me, there was nothing more important. It was always, the focus was on the family, providing a house and a home for my family. And based on some things that happened in the marriage, I decided that it was better that we parent separately than together.
Did you fight in front of her?
Yeah. Well, we tried not to.
Have you called the cops on your wife?
Yeah.
Was your daughter there?
Yes. Well, she was sleeping, so yeah, it was.
I thought you said it was a really small house.
Yeah, but she was not awake. She was not awake. She was asleep in her bed when it happened, and we were quiet.
Yeah, this is getting real clear. Seriously, you may feel like I'm throwing you under the bus here. I frankly don't care about your egos. I care about your daughter. Did I understand earlier that you asked her to leave because you had an affair?
It was a friend from high school. He's known me since I was 15. It was Facebook, and I was visiting friends from high school, and it wasn't something planned. It was something that just,
sorry?
I didn't plan on having an affair. It was a friend from high school. I was very unhappy in the marriage, neglected, called names constantly, and someone just said the right things and paid attention to me, and it just happened.
So that would be a yes. You had an affair. So you see, you have to understand, based on results, you have not provided a stable environment for your daughter. You all had a difference between, you say he's calling you names and putting you down, berating you, belittling you. So you turn to an old boyfriend, you get involved there. Then, the house is gone. Now you're living in an apartment. Then everybody's saying, oh, I can't do this anymore. She's going to have to go with her mother. I can't afford her. So I'm just looking at, based on results, I'm not asking myself why this child's making bad choices. I'm asking myself, why not? Why would she not make bad choices? And I don't question your intentions. No, and I really don't question your intentions. I have no doubt you love your daughter, right?
Without a doubt.
You love your daughter?
Love her.
Yeah. But you decided to go have an affair. You didn't mean to, it just happened. You hate it when that happens. Then he gets upset about that. Then you all go, then it breaks up. Now she's in the middle saying, ew, what the hell? Well, let's take a break. And when we come back, we're going to meet this teen, and we're going to hear about the potentially deadly fight that got Summer and Ray thrown in jail, both of them. We're going to talk about all that and more and meet her right after the break.
I was holding the scissors like this, like a knife, like you're about to stab somebody.
And she was just pointing them, saying, I'm going to kill you.
The scissor fight was a big fight.
If my parents say that I'm out of control, they're the main reason why. I was shoplifting because my dad wouldn't buy me anything, so I pretty much had to get it myself. I had a girlfriend who tried touching my boyfriend. I broke her nose. She had blood all over her jacket, and her nose was literally like crooked, and she couldn't breathe out of her nose for like over a month. When I turned 13 is when my dad started choking me and throwing me on the ground and closed fist punching me in the face. He'll stand in my way. He'll be like, oh, you trying to act tough? You trying to act tough? He was like, I don't know who you think you are. He's like, go on, fight me, fight me. I had a fight with my mom. The fight was over a phone charger, and she threw my phone at my face, and she dislocated my shoulder. So I rode away on my bicycle, and she was screaming, you're a bitch. She was like, yeah, ride away on that bike, you whore. My parents don't understand where I'm coming from. They don't understand who I am, and they don't see what they're doing to me and what they tell me and certain things they do around me is making me do what I'm doing.
Well, but I think what this family does understand is that Summer, when her mom Dina was caught having an affair, let's listen to this.
I was very unhappy in the marriage. Summer didn't know anything about the affair. Ray was trying to turn Summer against me. saying mom's a cheater.
I was always put in the middle of adult situations. My mom would always run to me and she was like helpless. She can't even get a clue. My mom would put me in the middle of their sexual intimacy and she would tell me how my dad would rape her, and I don't know what in her right mind could make her think that she could tell a kid that.
I found out that Dina was seeing another man. She was trying to maintain that relationship by telephone. When I threatened to take away the phone, she tried to beat me up. I made a police report. They charged her with domestic violence. I obtained a restraining order.
My anger towards my dad happened when he kicked my mom out of the house. My mom didn't choose to move. He literally threw her stuff out.
Well, Summer is joining us now. I'm glad you're here. How do you feel about being here?
I feel pretty good because I get to express the way I feel, and they never really gave me the time for that.
Well, let's talk about you for a minute. I've got a list I actually made that I hate that this is true. This is just a short period of time, but this is your rap sheet, essentially. 2010, 3-day school suspension for throwing a rock at a girl in the 8th grade. 2011, charged with shoplifting, $75 worth of merchandise. The charges got dropped later, but you did steal the stuff, right?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
2012, you're reported twice as a missing person. Ray says you've run away like 15 times.
I ran away because he was beating me and made me feel so worthless about myself.
Well, that's not true, because I asked him if he was doing anything to contribute to this problem and what was more important than creating an environment, and he couldn't think of a damn thing.
That's because he tries to make himself look so good.
So one of y'all is not telling the truth. March 12, cops called. Warning after arguing with Ray about leaving the house. March 13, you charged with possession, designated substances. You took your mother's Xanax?
Yeah, I did, but who wouldn't when I have them too as a parent?
Okay, March 13, you're charged with the petty theft of the Xanax. Then you're charged with battery.
I just can't take it anymore, and I act out with violence because that's all I've gotten shown my whole life.
Well, now, we know that's not true, too, because she said she couldn't think of a thing that she did here either. April 13th, you're charged with domestic violence because you threatened Ray's life with scissors, and you spent 3 days in juvie.
There was a vicious fight with my dad.
The scissor fight was a big fight. I saw Summer shoving something in a cigarette pack. I didn't know what it was. I asked for it. She wouldn't give it to me.
She had stolen my Xanax and Tramadol.
In that fight, my dad choked me, slapped me, threw me on the ground, and hit me.
Heard Summer screaming, "Mom, help me. Mom, help me. He's hurting me." And she said, "Mom, I can't breathe. Please help me."
I've had bruises all up and down my legs.
She would punch and kick me, anything to try to get through the doorway. And when she found out that wasn't going to work, she resorted to scissors. At that point, she said, "If you don't get out of my way, I'm going to stab you." I say, "Go ahead, because I'm right here."
I tried to stab him. I was going to kill him. I was holding the scissors like this, you know, like a knife, like you're about to stab somebody.
And she was just pointing them, saying, "I'm going to kill you."
Immediately, I grabbed her wrist right there. She tried to turn her wrist towards my hand.
And so I tried to bend my wrist and try to stab his arm. Resulted in me and my dad both getting arrested. And my dad went to jail for domestic violence and battery against me and my mom, and I got assault with a deadly weapon. And it got dropped.
Right, charges got dropped.
That's why they let me out of juvie, is because it was self-defense.
Well, July 13, you're charged with possession of marijuana, and you're expelled from high school in the 10th grade. Did you start using heroin and meth?
Yeah, I started using that when I was 14.
Smoking weed since you were 11?
Yeah.
You tried cocaine at 11?
Mm-hmm.
I'm Dr. Phil. I don't think we've met, because this doesn't sound like the guy I met before when you were saying,
Okay.
"Don't know, can't help you."
I'm raising a family. I'm working hard. I'm providing a house. I'm putting food in the home. 14 years of marriage. She never had to work. These guys have gone on vacations. They've had a good life. There's no reason why you needed to go out and do what you did. You did it because you wanted to, and you wanted to experiment. You're caught up in being popular, looking good, dating boys, and it got away from you. Let's just face it. You're not.
Let's face it, that you're abusive and you need to get over the fact that you shouldn't be treating women this way and you treat us with respect and don't put hands on us.
Have you been in a physical fight with your daughter?
I've withhold her from leaving the house. I'm merely trying to keep her under control.
She says that you're hitting her.
No.
You've never hit her?
No.
That is a lie. That
Has
is a
he hit you?
bold-faced lie. He has hit me. She has seen it. How could you sit on stage and make yourself look like an idiot?
Tell me. When did I hit you?
You've been hitting
Okay.
me. I've been
Being
watching you
spanked
abuse
is not
Josh.
You ask her the question, let her answer.
You
being
abused
spanked
Josh.
and being disciplined is not hitting
You got arrested for beating my brother when he was little.
There again.
I've watched you beat my mom my whole life, thrown her on the
Define
ground,
beating.
ripped her shirt up, red marks all over.
No, that's
No?
discipline. That's discipline.
For my mother? Who do you think you are? You're not her father.
I'm in charge of the household. That's who I am.
Have you thrown your wife on the ground and hit her?
No.
You have not
Yes,
thrown your
he
wife
has.
on the ground
Yes,
and
he
hit her?
has. He threw me on the floor and my shirt right in front of my son, who was 5 at the time, and he was crying.
I had
saying,
to
leave my mom alone.
This is untrue. First of all,
Very true.
it was an argument where
have
you
an
started
anger problem.
slapping me and pulling out my shirt, and my shirt ended up being in your hands. In
Who
the
wouldn't
end.
slap
You
you?
were on the ground only because you were trying to pull me to the ground through my shirt.
Have you been in physical fights with your daughter?
A couple of them.
Did you dislocate her shoulder?
No. No.
You didn't dislocate my shoulder?
Summer, your shoulder
So
would
did
be
he not
hanging
take me to
down.
the hospital and was my shoulder not?
Have you called her
released?
a...
Her shoulder was
have
not
you, have you called
dislocated.
her a bitch, white trash whore?
Well, I did because she almost broke my neck on the floor. She twisted. I think she was under a substance at that time. Her and I have only gotten into a couple of fights. We don't usually get into fights.
Have you told her that Ray rapes you?
Have I told? Yes.
Have you shared graphic details with her about your sex life?
Not graphic. No. Not graphic.
Did you tell her you were having an affair?
No, he did.
Okay, we're going to take a quick break here because I need it. When we come back, Summer says running away to Vegas with a boy she had only known 4 days was the worst mistake of her life. Okay, we'll talk about that when we come back. Well, we're back. I'm here with Ray, his ex-wife Dina, and their daughter Summer. Ray says his daughter has run away at least 15 times. Last time she ran away, it was to Vegas. Dina says it was a month-long ordeal. She said it involved drugs, homelessness, panhandling, a serious and dangerous physical attack on her. Police get involved. Summer says she had no choice but to leave home because her dad was beating her. Take a look.
I ran away from home because my dad was beating me. He was like, you know what, go kill yourself. It would save me money, but if you do kill yourself, don't do it in my house because I want to clean up your mess. I was with my boyfriend and he told me, I want to make a better life for you. Let's move away, let's live together. And we were only dating for 4 days. And I was dumb enough to be like, okay, yeah, let's go.
Summer had told me that she was going to run away. Dad's treating me bad. No matter what you say, Mom, I'm going to go.
I just disappeared and I became a missing person. Detectives were looking for me. I was homeless. My boyfriend would put me on the street and ask people for money. I'd make about $70 a day, but he wouldn't feed me. He used all the money and just bought drugs. I went like over a month without eating and I dropped all the way to 90 pounds. This one guy demanded money that I didn't have because I stayed in his house for 3 days. And he kept all of my clothes. So I broke into the house to go get my stuff, and he came out of his room and he lifted me off my feet and choked me as hard as he could. He shattered my windpipe. He choked me until everything went black. I woke up with nothing on, and he was laying on top of me, and his pants were halfway down. And I started freaking out. I started screaming for someone to help me, and that's when his neighbors saw me.
I got a call from a guy that told me, your daughter's crazy. She's saying crazy things. She's on drugs. Come and get your daughter. Ray drove out to Vegas that night.
Bad stuff happened in Vegas.
Vegas wasn't a good idea.
No, it wasn't. It was the worst thing that I've ever been through and the scariest for me to get choked and pretty much like raped by a random guy in Vegas.
He says you ran away because he refused to let you be with a 19-year-old boyfriend and to stay at his house, to stay with this boyfriend.
Well, you see, if that was the case, I wouldn't have even ran away. I would have just stayed there and not told him about my boyfriend or where I was going. I'd just hang out with him. But the real reason why is because I couldn't take him anymore. Like, why am I running away all these times? Like, I ran away, 16 times? Because I can't stand him, and he makes me feel so worthless and so, like, I'm nothing.
That's not true. You asked if he could come to our house and sleep on our couch, and if I agreed to that you were going to be happy, you would go to school every day, and that you weren't going to run away. You said that if I didn't do that if I didn't care for him, I didn't care for you. Which isn't true. I care about you by blocking you from him.
If you cared about me so much, then why would you hit me and call me names and make me feel like I'm nothing and that I'm worthless, to where I had to try to commit suicide like 28 times?
Everything I did was to try to distract you from getting what you want.
Everything you did ruined me.
Wrong. Well, you need to listen to your mom and dad when they care most about you.
Listen to you guys when you guys show a really bad example my whole life. I started dating when I was in 3rd grade. I lost my virginity at 13. Anywhere I walk, there's somebody honking, saying things to me like hot mama, and like even girls hit on me. It's pretty crazy. Anywhere I walk, there's somebody honking, screaming at me, whistling, saying things to me like hot mama, and like even girls hit on me. It's pretty crazy.
Summer dress is too risque. She likes to wear clothes that show cleavage.
I'd wear shorter shorts, and that's just how I dress for the summertime at the beach, like, you know, but I guess it's just the way I look because I'm just like a pretty blonde girl I look.
And it's attracting older guys because she lies about her age.
I actually like the attention just because my parents never really gave me attention. My mom never complimented me, my dad never complimented me when I was a kid, so I pretty much like look for it in other people.
When I see this relationship with these 40-year-old men and my 16-year-old daughter, there's nothing good that can come of that relationship.
I started dating when I was in 3rd grade.
I feel that Summer's not making good choices with men because she doesn't have a good male role model.
I lost my virginity at 13. I was drunk at a Halloween party, and I don't even really remember.
What is a win for you here? Where do you think this is headed?
I want to go to college for cosmetology or to be a social worker for psychology. And I want to help abused children because I never got the help that I needed. So I want to help other kids.
Mm-hmm. And do you think the choices that you're making now are going to put you on that path?
I've actually turned my life around, and now I'm like going to school, and I've been staying with my mom, and I've been doing things that I need to be doing because I realize that I'm not going to get anywhere if I just keep going down the path that I was going down.
How do you think it's going with her staying with you?
She has a boyfriend that's 22 years old that's in jail, that she's totally worried about, constantly looking him up on the internet to see when his court date is, and worried about when he's going to get out and that she's going to be with him and she wants a baby with him. She's not doing good.
Well, that's a different version than you just gave me. You just said, I've turned my life around, I've now matured, I've got it straight, I want to help the world.
So
I want to
having
get
a
people's
boyfriend.
figure. And she says, no, actually, she's not. She's obsessed with this 22-year-old guy that's in jail and wants to have a baby.
Wait, so me having a boyfriend has to be me not going down the right
Well,
path?
are you choosing? Are you choosing well?
She's always on Facebook, Instagram, telling me about 28-year-olds, and she shows me pictures of them. I mean, guys that are total dirtbags with covered in tattoos. I'm like, and she shows me, Mom, look at these guys. They think I'm hot. They want to be with me. 28 years old. And I said, that's not going to happen. We got to do something here. She is out of control.
Yeah.
When people ask for help, you know, I know they're serious about it. And so I was glad to get a letter from you. Oh, wait a minute. I didn't get a letter from you.
Something that I would have done.
I got a letter from you. Oh, no, I didn't get a letter from you. I got a letter from your aunt. Teresa, thank you for writing the letter, by the way. I'm glad you did. What made you write the letter now instead of a year ago or a year from now?
You don't really need me to tell you that. I guess you always hope for the best.
And I'm not the one that go out and ask for help from everybody. Okay, I provide for my family. I've done it by myself and under my own ability.
If you provide so well, why'd I have to go out and get a job myself and pay for my own phone bill and pay for my own phone?
You had all those
Pay for all
things.
my own makeup and all my own stuff now.
You've had all those things.
How do you expect me to act like 16 when I have to do everything that adults do?
And here's a novel concept. Adults are going to talk about adult issues without involving children. Okay? So I'm going to ask the child to excuse us for a few minutes so I can talk to you parents without her here. So we're going to do that after the break. Well, I'm back with Dina and Ray. I just asked their lovely daughter, Summer, and she is a lovely young woman, to excuse us so I could talk to you two. Y'all were married for 14 years, right? And then you say that you separated from Ray because you felt alone. And Ray says Dina hooked up with an old high school guy friend and refused to end the affair. So he got a restraining order and he kicked her out of the house. And he says there's not been any turmoil in front of this child, which I think is wrong. Let me say a couple of things. I didn't just come in on a load of turnips, and I get that your daughter is the quintessential drama queen. I get that she can take a story this big and make it this big, and she layers it, and she's tried to commit suicide 28 times, and she's impaled herself in the stomach, and she's done all of this stuff, which is just simply not true. And I get that. You get that I get that?
Sure.
You get that I get that?
Mm-hmm.
So if you divide everything she says by 10 and just get down to a tenth of what she's saying is true, this is out of control chaos. And you are a big part of it, and you are a big part of it, and you collectively are a big part of it. And she is caught in the middle of this emotional quagmire, and she's 16 years old. Her brain isn't even through growing yet. And if she started experimenting with drugs at 11, and she started doing them fairly seriously at 13 or 14, then she's right. Emotionally, she's not 16, she's 12. Because one of the things we know when kids start doing drugs in that way with their brains undeveloped, that development stops, reasoning stops, the ability to see around corners stops. All of those things stop, and so you're dealing with someone that is 16 but has not developed or has regressed to a much less mature level of problem solving. Okay, do you get that? So I realize we're dealing with a child. I realize that she says that she presents the picture that you've had her on the ground pounding her in the face with a closed fist. I know that's not true. I get that, but I also know that you have lost your temper, you have crossed the line, you have not had good parenting. Just by what you admit to, what you have the insight to, you have no clue about what to do with this girl, correct?
That's correct.
And you've basically said, I wash my hands here. Unfortunately, that's not one of the options. Okay? Seriously, there's no window you go to where you check out. Sorry, I'm worn out, so I'm going to sign out here and give her back. You don't do that. You're her father.
We're trying to get a hold of her before she turns 18. I realize that time is ticking. And, if I invite her back into the house to continue what she's doing, it's not going to go anywhere. She's not going to learn her lesson.
Well, let me tell you.
I'm not checking out. I'm trying to bring justice to the doorstep.
The most powerful role model in any child's life is the same-sex parent. That would be you. When it comes to parents, you've lost your way. I'm not trying to insult you, I'm trying to inform you. You have lost your way. The most powerful role model in any child's life is the same-sex parent. That would be you. You have a lot of ownership here. You have a lot of ownership here. Do you get that?
I get that.
You have overshared with your daughter.
Mm-hmm.
Inappropriate. Inappropriate. When a daughter doesn't feel really special to their father, they have a hunger for male attention. They have a hunger for male validation and acceptance and all of the things that come usually from a relationship with the male father figure in their life. That makes her vulnerable to anybody that comes along and tells her what she wants to hear. Then that makes her vulnerable to that. So you have a lot of ownership in that.
But couldn't it also be true that she decided that getting attention from the guys that she's seeing is more exciting? The attention that she gets from me is just, that's my dad. Yeah. He loves me. Yeah. He takes me to dinner. Yeah. He buys me clothes. Yeah. He takes me on vacations. For that love relationship, that something that's outside of the mom and dad thing, I'm not going to be able to give that to her. I mean, I hug her, but it's kind of like on the shoulder now. There was a separation there, that there was a gap that perhaps I couldn't cross. I mean, I can't build the bridge that far.
Yeah. There's not enough time. There's not enough time for me to tell you what's wrong with that logic. But I'll give you a 30-second preview. Okay? It's not about do you compete with the thrill of a romantic love or a girl finding a boy that gets her all excited about being part of a couple. It's about a father that teaches a daughter to value herself. It's about a daughter that wakes up every day and knows that there is a man in this world that she thinks is 10 feet tall, that she respects and looks up to, who thinks that she is special and wonderful and valuable. And because she has that self-esteem and self-worth, she will not let some guy use her body, use her life, use her emotions for his playground or to entertain himself. So no, you're not trying to compete with some guy that's giving her attention. You are trying to teach her to love herself by feeling loved from you, and therefore she values herself and says, no, 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 you will not entertain yourself with me, and then you walk away and I'm left in a trailer park with a baby because I am worth more than that, and I know that because my daddy taught me that. Let me just cut to the chase here. You guys are in over your head. I don't know how you found each other, but it was a dark day that you found each other. It did not yield good things in either of your lives, right? I think you're nice people individually, but collectively, you're toxic. Mm-hmm. And what I'm going to tell you is that right now, she should not be living with either one of you. She really shouldn't. This girl needs some very specialized help here. So I am going to recommend that she be placed in a very specific placement here. It's called the Center for Discovery, and it's located in Whittier, California. Dr. Rachel Wood is here. Talk about this a little bit, what you think would be in store for her.
Absolutely. The Discovery Program is a highly structured, nurturing environment that was specifically designed to treat the very things we've seen here today. We would love an opportunity to work with Summer and her parents.
I am going to make to you an offer of this to you as a gift to your family and to your daughter, to arrange for her to be placed in this facility. And here's the catch. Everything has a catch. And this is a big one. You two have at least as much work to do on figuring out how to be parents and how to co-parent and how to receive her back into this world when she comes back. You have at least as much work to do while she's gone as she does while she's gone. Okay? And we will provide that help and guidance for you. But believe you me, that is a prerequisite. You have to work while she's gone, or she comes back to the same toxicity she left, and we've done nothing except buy a little time. Are you willing to do that? If I get you that professional help, are you willing to take it and figure out not only what you've done wrong in the past, but what you need to do right in the future?
Yes.
And are you willing to do that?
Yeah.
I am going to allow you guys to go back and explain this to her and make this offer to her. This is your first parenting test, because it is your job to get her there. It is your job to get her there. And if that requires a transporter who takes her there against her will, then that's fine. But you two have to come together, shoulder to shoulder, stand your ground, and make this happen. You can compel her to go to this program. And I expect that you will do exactly that. Fair enough? Okay. All right. If you're dealing with a defiant teen, go to drphil.com, where I have posted resources and more information about what you can do in your home, what you can do if it's gone beyond your home. And I want to thank my guests for being here today. I mean, you guys are important teaching tools for others that aren't here today. And a special thanks, Rachel. Thank you so much for being here. And thanks so much to the Center for Discovery. And I will, in advance, thank the West Shield Adolescent Transport Company. Because they are on the premises, and if needed, they will do what is necessary. We'll see you next time.
Thank you so much.